The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
The return of the man genius. Eric Mangini was asked about his name being mentioned for the Jet head coaching opening. We'll tell you what he said and talk about the latest with the Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show. Robby Sabo joins us. Let's hit it and get it started. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chat, baby. Cut the line. Now it's time to talk all things New York Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show. Yes, indeed it is. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We are approaching 500 Patreon subscribers. Thank you to everyone who joined the Patreon. If you haven't done so already, join for just $5 a month. It's even less if you sign up for the entire year. You'll gain Discord access, discounts in the merch store, your name added to the intro, and bonus shows every month that are not on YouTube. All you need to do is go to patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. If you're on the fence about joining, I'd recommend you do it because we got a couple days left in November and we update the list of names at the start of every single month. Joining us right now in his weekly spot on the program is the co-founder of JetsXFactor.com. Robby Sabo joins us now. Hello, Robby.
Who, me?
That's you.
Oh, hey, what's up, Jake? Craziness going on, huh? What's the latest in Jets land?
Well, we could talk about Aaron Rodgers starting Sunday. Jets say there's no plans to shut him down. We could talk about Mike Tannenbaum and his company, the 33rd Team. Him and Rick Spielman, both former GMs, of course, leading the Jet search for a new GM and a head coach. Or we could talk about Eric Mangini and the fact that his name has been mentioned as a possible head coaching candidate. Why don't we start with the man genius? This was Eric Mangini yesterday on the Colin Cowherd program on FS1 being asked about the Jet opening.
So your name came up for the Jets opening. First of all, have a comment on that. Diana Rossini came out with it. Will you acknowledge it? I haven't talked to you about this yet. What do you make of the report?
Well, it would make sense, Colin, because I just sold my house in New Jersey. So that's typically how the NFL works is once you sell property, then you get an opportunity. Once you buy property, then you get fired. I think it was just part of an article. I obviously am not lobbying for the job, but I feel pretty good about what I did while I was there. I mean, we just had 3 of those guys that I coached go into the Jets Ring of Honor, and I think we were a smart, disciplined, tough team. I didn't realize they were getting the band back together, bringing Tannenbaum in. But it's, it's like any other situation. There's a lot of things that you can do with an organization from a vision and principle standpoint, and I feel good about what I did when I was there. Colin, I thought they were going to win the division. I thought they were going to win it last year before Aaron got hurt, and then I thought they were going to win it this year. Look, I went through this with Brett, and we were 8-3 until Brett got hurt, and I thought it was going to be a similar trajectory with Aaron Rodgers, and it should be a similar trajectory that you've got. Look, he's not what he used to be, but he should make everybody around him better because of the things that he can do. And he took over for a situation that was arguably as bad as any situation in the league from a quarterback perspective. So naturally, you thought there'd be a jump there.
Okay, so Mangini, talking around it, didn't actually come out and say he's not a candidate. Didn't say that he said he was not going to campaign for the job there, but your thoughts on him not completely shutting down the idea about a Jets return?
In terms of returning, I mean, listen, it's the thing that sticks out to me is what he says, how he says it, how he goes about his business. He is calm. He is measured. He lacks the passion type stuff, the motivation type stuff that a Rex brings to the table. But that is I mean, everything else in terms of team building, and I'm not talking about head coach per se, but team building. That's the guy you want in terms of a vision, in terms of building a team. You look at Tannenbaum's drafts, drastically different with Mangini as opposed to Rex. I mean, it couldn't be more black and white. It couldn't be more up and down. It is a tale of two different regimes. So, I don't expect Mangini back with the Jets. I mean, the reason he went away and things went awry is, he made mistakes with Woody. He was a young coach. He didn't get it done in Cleveland as well. So, I think it's a pipe dream. I think it was just, I didn't read the article from Rossini, but I assume it was just her throwing a name out. And why not? I mean, we might as well throw Bruce Coslet's name out.
She heard that his name has been considered. It wasn't just thrown out there randomly.
All right.
Someone wanted it out there. That's how that works.
Let's go Coslet. Let's go Kotite. Let's get I mean, is what's Parcells doing? Is he in Florida playing shuffleboard? What? I mean, at this point, look, the Tannenbaum thing, this wraps into it. When was the last time an organization hired somebody for advice that they previously fired?
Probably has not happened. But the thing is, the Tannenbaum involvement to me is completely separate than Mangini's involvement. Like, Tannenbaum is a consultant who's assisting with the process of hiring people for the GM job and the coaching job. Mm-hmm. Mangini's name is being mentioned as a head coach again, which I wouldn't hire him as the head coach. I'd hire him to a role in the front office if he was interested. You brought up his draft. You brought up the fact he knew how to put together a team.
Yep.
I mean, Mangini, in a article about, 8 years ago now, it was an article written in the New York Post by Brian Costello. And here's how long ago it's been since Mangini's been involved with the Jets. The article was 10 years later, reflecting back on Eric Mangini's time with the Jets. It came out in 2016. He was the head coach in 06, 07, and 08. So he hasn't been involved with the Jets. Think about that, how long it's actually been. But in the story, it mentions that after Mangini was fired by the Niners, where in his last year there he was a defensive coordinator,
right,
he had interest in potentially returning either as a coach or in a front office role to an NFL team. If he's still interested in a front office role, I would love Mangini to be a part of the front office. He's smart. He can identify talent, as you brought up. That, to me, would be his role, not as a head coach when he hasn't been a head coach in the NFL since the early 2010s in Cleveland, where he didn't win.
So we're looking at it from two different perspectives, and I'm largely in agreement with you in terms of what do we do? What do they do? What's the best process to get the Jets back on track in terms of names, in terms of people? And I'm largely in agreement with you. I'm looking at it from a process standpoint. I feel like they care too much about the PR right now and getting fans that warm and fuzzy feeling and getting the fans okay with thinking about the future. You said Mangini's name wouldn't be out there if someone didn't want it to be leaked out there. Why? I don't care about that stuff. I don't identify the right people to bring in. It doesn't
mean Woody's going to hire him. It could be Mangini's
No, it doesn't.
Agent.
It doesn't. But it doesn't. But I'm looking at the process, and I see games sort of being played in terms of the process that don't really. It doesn't. I could take him or leave him. It doesn't matter to me. In terms of Tannenbaum, Spielman, hell of a job at Washington. I'll take Spielman any day. Tannenbaum did great stuff with the Jets. I'm not a Tannenbaum hater by any means. There's a valid argument for Tannenbaum to help out and bring about great advice. The process is what I have a problem with. This is the first time an NFL team is hiring the 33rd team. It's not Tannenbaum and Spielman on paper. It's the 33rd team on paper. What is the 33rd team? They cover the NFL. They're a media journalistic company. And now I guess they have a separate wing where it's consultantship. Why?
You want the truth about that? The consultantship's in name only. I mean, Rick Spielman didn't work for the 33rd team a year ago when he did the exact same thing for the Washington Commanders.
You can still hire him. You can still hire him as an independent contractor.
Well, but he has worked now for the 33rd team over the last year, but he's done this consulting thing on the side for the Commanders a year ago, helped him hire Quinn and Peters. And look, I think here's where we disagree. I like the fact Tannenbaum's involved. There's a difference in being a GM in Houston or in Kansas City or in whatever market, and then being the GM of the Jets and dealing with this media market. So I like the fact that Mike's been in that chair. They have not had success since he was the GM. You have a guy in Rick Spielman who has been a GM for 2 different teams as well, including a decade-long run in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
I like the fact that those 2 guys are going to be in the interview process, asking questions, helping the Johnson family identify candidates, because I have no faith in Woody or Chris. I wanted football people to be involved, and we can't argue Spielman and Tannenbaum are football people.
No, I agree with that. And I'm not defiant on Tannenbaum. Spielman, I love. Tannenbaum, okay, I'm cool with it. But again, it's the process. Why is it officially the 33rd team on paper? They're a media organization. How do they cover the Jets? How is the content work in terms of previously covering the Jets and future articles about the Jets? It's becomes, in my mind, it becomes so convoluted, and it opens the door for so much messiness and confusion. Not everyone is as tech savvy and has the awareness. They'll see an article from the 33rd team about the Jets. It already happened on Twitter. They released an article a couple weeks ago about the top 5 GM candidates. And as soon as it was announced, the 33rd team, Jets fans are reacting to it. What? This is their recommendation? No, that's independent media coverage. So I think if you're Woody, if you're the Jets, I wouldn't want to be the test project for this project in terms of making it a media company on paper. Make it the individuals.
Did you see the website? Like, so they have a category on their thing called professional services. It's like you look at Netflix, they have TV shows, they have movies, they have live sports. Like, it's a huge company that does multiple things. But
but it's in its infancy and it's not proven.
But it's not like the guy who wrote the story, top GM candidates, is a writer that is separate than Mike Tannenbaum.
Me and you understand that. Me and you understand that.
Yeah, but who cares? Who cares? As long as Woody Johnson understands that he's not having, all 10, 15 different people who the 33rd team employs, including their fantasy football writer in the interview process. I don't think it really matters. You have Spielman.
Here's the thing.
You're paying for Spielman and Tannenbaum to be consultants.
Here's the thing. The Jets, I have been the loudest cheerleader in terms of writing and expressing opinions about how unfair the media has treated them in the past. I think you'd agree, correct? They have been treated unfairly so much, so often. However, when you go down a road like this that opens the door for potential messiness, I just don't like it. I would rather avoid that altogether and just go with the individuals. Why not go with the individuals? There's no rule against that.
Well, I think it's because Spielman works for Tannenbaum's company, and they saw this as an opportunity to basically use the Jets as, hey, we have 2 people who are going to help an NFL team find candidates. Spielman did this independently last year. He now works for us. It could be a bigger thing. Instead of Korn Ferry being the go-to, the 33rd team can now be the go-to to help teams identify GM and coaching candidates.
Here's the thing.
This is basically Korn Ferry. It's just with 2 guys that Woody Johnson seemingly trusts here.
Yeah, but it's a media. Up until this point, they've been 100% media coverage covering the NFL. Korn Ferry is completely different. PFF, doesn't do this. They distribute their stats to teams, but they don't.
PFF
offer
doesn't
advice.
have a former GM and Rick Spielman and Mike Tannenbaum.
No. I'm not saying they should. I think they do it the right way. They work with companies in terms of distributing stats and analytics in terms of that service. Listen, at the end of the day, this could be the best thing for the 33rd team. This could turn out to be their bread and butter in terms of consultantship and advice, 100%. And I think it probably can be their bread and butter. Just from a Woody Johnson Jets perspective, I would have rather have avoided that potential for messiness. That's all. The people, the individuals, I'm on board. I'm okay with Spielman for sure. Tannenbaum.
Isn't that all that matters though? Like, who cares? Who cares
really,
what it's called?
Because
ultimately, you're paying for the 2 people that are going to be in the room, Mike Tannenbaum and Rick Spielman, which is what every Jet fan wanted. They wanted football people in the room.
It adds baggage.
Robbie, you can't have more baggage. They haven't made the playoffs since 2010.
Oh, no, you could have a lot. Dude.
The Jets could cure cancer, and people would have a problem with it. You had Mike Florio yesterday, who has one of the biggest national platforms, tweeting this. All right? It's one thing for Josh Harris, who brought the Commanders to hire outsiders to help him hire a coach and GM. It's another thing for Woody, who's owned the team for 25 years to do it. So if Woody did nothing but make the hires on his own, he'd get ripped for it because he doesn't know football. He brings in outsiders. One guy who in particular did the exact same thing last year with the Washington Commies. He brings that guy in, and people still have a problem with it.
I'm not saying, but here's the thing. There's nuance. I'm not saying that. I've been, again, I mean, it's all on JetsXFactor.com. I have defended the Jets from unfair treatment time and again, but it's not the same exact thing. It's very different. It's the company. It's the media company that already has slants and opinions and angles. It's not Spielman. It's different.
Yeah, but that's like saying I work for ESPN, so my opinion that I give on this show is the opinion that everyone at ESPN has. Like the opinion of a writer at the 33rd team doesn't mean that Mike Tannenbaum and Rick Spielman agree with that writer's opinion.
No, it would be like hiring ESPN to have your advice. ESPN's a media company that covers sports.
Right, but ESPN, like the guy who runs, the teleprompter does not speak for the entire ESPN. You're treating the 33rd team as anything they put out is the representation of their 20 employees.
No. I'm treating it as the infancy of a separate new wing. And it's a test run. It's not proven. It's a test run.
There's two people that are involved in this. That's it. It's not the 33rd team. It's Mike Tannenbaum and Rick Spielman.
Again, but that's my only problem. It's the actual official agreement they entered in with is the 33rd team, not Tannenbaum and not Spielman. And
but that's the company.
It opens the doors for people to think potential other motives, and that I just would rather stay away from that. That's all. In terms of the people, no problem.
So isn't that all that matters?
Not real. I mean, honestly, we'll see. But no, I don't think so. I think going about the process in terms of
like I'm just getting what you don't like about it, like because it's just called the 33rd team.
No, because it becomes convoluted. They cover the NFL. The
company does, but
yes.
It's not. But they do multiple things as a company on their website.
No, they do. Starting now, this is the first time it's been done.
I guess yes, but it'd be like a company expanding. Rick Spielman had previously done this, and now he works.
Okay, and I'm telling you, I'd rather avoid that test run if I'm Woody. That's all. It's not that crazy to say. I'd rather avoid that complication, that possible complication.
But I'm confused because you're also saying that you like the fact that Rick Spielman and Mike Tannenbaum are involved. So if
Tannenbaum wishy-washy on Spielman, yeah. Spielman, I like him individually.
Okay, so if Woody Johnson had come out and just said, hey, we brought in Rick Spielman as a consultant and never mentioned the fact that he also works for the 33rd team, you'd be on board with this? So it's really a semantics thing? You just don't like the fact that the 33rd team is mentioned here as if it means anything?
It's not semantics. It's confusing. It's convoluting their media coverage. It's convoluting potential motives from a Jets perspective, even if it's purely innocent.
But it's not a test run, but like the guy who's involved in this did it last year. That's why I don't understand what the
but it wasn't the 33rd team. It was Myers and Spielman. It had nothing to do with a media company that covers the actual league. Right, you don't see how that could complicate things.
The media company is just in name only. Like the guy who writes about fantasy football for the 33rd team is not in the interview process.
But again, if there were two totally separate wings that have been established for years, no problem, and people understood that, no problem. It's not that way yet. It is completely not that way yet. This is their grand opening of the consultantship wing. And I would rather have avoided that. That's all. And I would have rather have dealt with individuals. Having a business, another organization involved, there are so many voices that go into that. And I'd rather have dealt with just individuals. That's all.
I still think there's only two voices that are involved in this.
We'll see. I mean, how do we know that? Again, the potential
because the press release mentioned those two having an involvement in the decision.
They're the headliners. They're the headliners. That doesn't mean they're the only two people involved.
They have data and analytics stuff that they could reference, but ultimately the people that are in the interview are the two people that were hired for the job that have done the job before, Mike Tannenbaum and Rick Spielman.
Then if that's the way it goes, then cool.
Ladies and gentlemen, Robby Sabo and I will not agree on this, but that's okay. We'll continue
listen,
here.
Man, I, if I'm Woody, again, I would avoid any potential door for messiness. And I just see this as something that could lead to just stuff you don't want. That's all.
Also, they don't have final say on who the Jets hire. They just give a recommendation. It's still up to Woody to sign off on it.
For sure. 100%. Of course.
Comments, questions, super chats. They cut the line. Let's see. This one's from Nate, who writes in, what I think Robbie's trying to say, it's like hiring ESPN New York instead of Bart Scott, the individual person.
Correct. I mean, pretty much.
Philip says, send him to the Shadow Realm. I don't think we're going to do that. Robbie's right. Stop defending the gross media. Credible commenter. 1, kiss my ass. 2, no one's defending the media. We're simply saying that this company is getting into consulting, and they have the guy who did the same exact role last year with the Washington Commanders. That's what we're saying.
Yeah, oh, I know what you're saying. I would rather avoid going into business in terms of an advice role with a company that covers the NFL. That is not a crazy statement.
I get it.
There is a lot of merit to that.
I just think it's very easy to separate what like the 33rd team does versus what the two people that are specifically involved in this process are going to be doing.
Yeah, it should be. It can be. It may work out that way. But the chances that it doesn't are much larger than if you just hire individual people like Washington did.
Mangini, getting back to him. If he wants to be involved in the front, we'll get to Rex. If Mangini wants to get involved in the front office, is that the only scenario you'd bring him back, or would you seriously consider him as a head coach again?
Yeah, I mean, his credentials are solid. I mean, you look at the drafts. Golston was obviously a bust. That last draft was not great. But quick credit to Tannenbaum. Even though the drafts are very different with Mangini and with Rex, there's one pick which I think was tremendous. Demario Davis. We always forget about him. What was it, 2011 in the Wilkerson draft, I think? They got him in the 3rd round. Tremendous pick. But with Mangini, yeah, I think I would avoid him as coach. He didn't get it done in Cleveland. There were some things I liked in terms of him as coach, but too many things I didn't like. A lot of the defensive stuff, the blitzes were, I remember the blitz timing was terrible. DC is probably more responsible for that, but I think front office, yeah.
Nate says, I would hire Robby Sabo. I would not hire Jets X Factor. Correct. Boomtown says, Robbie, define what your concern is. What exactly would be the negative that could come out of it?
There's too many hands in the pot in terms of the company as a whole. Too many visions, too many do this, do that, do that. Just too much in terms of ideas. That is one. Number 2, fan confusion. I mean, how do they had to delete the article that they wrote 2 weeks ago from a writer. Other than the Jets, from a Jets perspective, just journalistic integrity is a whole different topic that I'm probably passionate about. And our media has become too convoluted. And this is the thing we complain about as Jets fans. The media doesn't even cover things fairly. They attack the Jets because they know they're going to get the emotion. They know they're going to get the passion. And we complain about it. Yet this leads down a road more of media convolution. So that's separate from the Jets trying to get to their objective. But that's number 2. So number 1 is too many hands in the pot. Number 2 is the media further complicating matters. And number 3 is unforeseen things that I can't even describe.
I don't know. We're usually aligned. I could not disagree more on this. I think it's in name only. The professional services they're offering is you're bringing in Spielman, who did the exact same thing last year, and Tannenbaum will be in the room too, who's had the job the last time this team was any good. That to me is it. I will agree with you if the 33rd team's fantasy football writer is involved in the process, right? But you look at their contributors, if Ari Miroth, who aggregates other people's news and has a bunch of Twitter followers, is telling Woody who to hire, I would say, yeah, that's not great. We don't want that. But if it's just Mike Tannenbaum and Rick Spielman is the only ones who have a voice here, I don't know. I guess we'll see. Ultimately, if they get it right, who cares?
True. But what else do we know about Woody? He reads and looks at everything. And
so you think he's reading Ari Mirov's insider piece on who he should hire?
dude, I have no idea. I have. I'm just saying, I'd rather it be 2 or 3 trusted individuals. That's all, to not complicate the process and allow the potential for it to be broader.
Rex Ryan, with Tannenbaum being involved, does that help Rex's candidacy for the next head coach or hurt it?
I don't know.
Or not make a difference?
I think, from a perception standpoint, I think it helps. I mean, because Woody, what did he just do? He went back to Tannenbaum. I mean, it's that simple. And maybe part of it going with the company instead of just Tannenbaum and Spielman is Woody's thinking about perception, and he doesn't want to go back to a guy he fired and make it not look bad. I don't think he had to worry about that, but maybe that's it. And that would be my hope. And it is just those two who are involved. But I think it helps his chances. I mean, I don't see how you could think it hurts it.
The only way I think it might hurt it is if when Tannenbaum got fired and Rex didn't, there's some animosity that still remains years later.
That is true, because we don't know. And
they work together at ESPN. They're seemingly all good. It's been a long time. And if Tannenbaum thinks Rex is the best for the job, then,
By the way, let's not forget about Tannenbaum's insane takes over the last few years at ESPN. I know it's the media, but holy cow.
Well, that's a different job than what he's doing here. That's why I'm glad he's not going to be the GM again.
I know, but
you don't think there's value in a guy who's done that job in this market, understands
I do think
what
there's
it takes to handle the fan base and ownership, and knows if someone has the right temperament. Like, there's a difference of being the general manager of the LA Chargers and the New York Jets. There just is. There's more scrutiny, pressure. Like, there's a lot that I think Tannenbaum's perspective, it's just being a guy who's done the job for 7 years in that seat, is valuable for any candidate they're going to bring in.
Yeah, I do think there's value. No question. And listen, Mikey T, he's a Parcells guy. He came with that regime in the late 90s. He said it a million times. He was fortunate to do so, and he earned his way up. Terry Bradway first, and then Mikey T taking over, getting that promotion with Mangini in 2006. So I do think there's value, but to not mention it is, I think, the wrong thing. I think we have to just at least mention it. I'm not going to crucify him for it, but there's been some things.
Well, he's not the GM at least, so that's good. All right, let's open it up. Comments, questions, super chats. Any thoughts on this team coming out of the bye week? We know Rodgers is going to start. Yesterday, Obrick said it's news to him that Rodgers would decline getting any medical scans. They said they had no plans to shut him down. I mean, here's the recap of yesterday's news from Jeff Obrick here on Aaron Rodgers. But Rodgers, the quarterback for this week, that we know. Do we expect a healthy Aaron Rodgers Sunday against Geno in Seattle?
What do we think his injury is? Is it hamstring? Do we think it's got to be lower body, right?
It's hamstring, ankle, and both knees.
So on the injury report, Rodgers questionable, both legs, basically.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I expect him to play. I expect him to look a little better. If you watch the film, he's throwing. You don't have to watch the film. Watch the game. He's throwing without any leg strength whatsoever. It's insane. Early in the game against the Colts on that post or dig, whatever it was, to Garrett, was it? Threw it without any drive whatsoever in that back foot, completely whiffed behind him. That's just not Aaron Rodgers. No matter how much he's diminished at his age, he can still complete that pass in his sleep, usually when healthy. But with age comes injury. So, yeah, I expect him to play, obviously, and maybe play well, but we'll see.
This is why I love this show. Credible commenter. Robbie's right. The media is a virus. And then Peter Castro says, Robbie, you're turning this into a twisted web. Ridiculous.
Hey, man. Listen, there's no one who has defended the Jets in terms of unfairness from the media more than me. It is documented, but I just avoid any potential complications. That's all I asked. I think they missed the mark on it. We'll see. Hey, hopefully it works out right. It could completely work out swimmingly.
If they hire Mike Vrabel and Ray Agnew, how are you going to feel about the 33rd team?
Tremendous.
100%.
100%.
Jay Graves says, I want Peter and Robbie to talk on the show. Castro, call in, baby. Call
Is
in.
Peter the $500? Who was it? Lazard?
That's Peter Castro.
Yes.
Yeah, Alan Lazard.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he's got to call in. Come on, Peter.
All right, let's open it up. We'll take some calls right now. Gusbuster Umbrella Hotline is the place to be. Ladies and gentlemen, load up the calls. It is time to get to all of them.
If you go to gusbuster.com, you could purchase the best umbrella in the universe. And you could use the promo code Jake, so you'll get 15% off on any of your umbrellas.
First up on the hotline is the Hamburger. Hello, Hamburger.
Good morning, gentlemen. How we doing?
What's up?
Not much. It's funny. I was listening to, before you clicked over, I was listening and I forgot we had to play football this week. And I laughed so hard. Like I forgot
me
we
too.
even had to endure like another 6 games.
Another 6 games. Dude, me too. And for those who don't know, I also help coach a high school football team, and we're in the state semifinals this weekend. So the JetX team has been picking up my slack. I've been game planning all week. So I'm with you. I completely forgot.
It's been torture.
Yeah.
Listen, I mean, Robbie, I get what you're saying a little bit about the media end of it. I just don't think it's there. I think, who knows? It's just, I think it's just separate. They're just going to be they're just going to be helping hire the GM. I don't think it's that much attached to that company. I think they're just putting their name on it for mostly anything. Probably for notoriety.
What are the motives for that? Why would Woody want their name on it? Why?
He's getting value out of it, I'm sure. He's getting 2 guys to help him find the GM for this team. So
I think from a Tannenbaum perspective, if maybe he had the idea of doing this for a while, they brought in Spielman about a year ago. So it's like
it's a great move.
We could expand our company by just having like our company be attached to it, but the actual people doing the work are the 2 people that are mentioned in the press release, Mike Tannenbaum
and from a
33rd
from a 33rd team perspective, it's the right move. It's a great move. I think honestly that'll turn out to be their bread and butter. I think they have that.
60s it will. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they have that experience, and they have that route is clear and open. I think they could have great success with that. But if I'm Woody and if I'm the Jets, I just want to avoid.
It's like Amazon Prime, Robbie. Amazon started off as a company that would deliver you goods. Now they're producing TV and movies. It's just a subdivision of as the 33rd team expanding, they want to get into consultant. They have people that have done that job. So rather than do it on an individual basis, Tannenbaum hired Spielman so we could do it for his company as they look to expand.
Listen, I understand the process completely. But from a ownership standpoint, for the Jets, I don't want to be the team to go through the test run. Number one. Number two, I just don't want any extra baggage in this process. And listen, when you're covering the NFL and you have to be journalistically stout, that brings a lot of potential for extra baggage. And I don't care if it's a separate wing; it's not fully established yet.
But let me ask you this, right? We say it has the potential to bring extra baggage. Only if it doesn't work, it's a bad look. But they tried Casserly and Wolf, and everyone's like, all right, you got football people helping Woody. And it failed in spectacular fashion because they hired the wrong people. So, we still laugh when we hear about, Charlie Casserly, Ron Wolf, great recommendations, guys. McCagden and Bowles, that's what would happen here. If they hire the wrong people, we're going to be like, yeah, we really let Mike Tannenbaum help us hire another GM and coach. It didn't work. I don't think we're going to be looking at it being like, you remember when the Jets tried the 33rd team? I think we're going to specifically reference Spielman and Tannenbaum here. If it works, they'll get credit. If it doesn't work, they're going to get blamed. But that's the same thing with the last time they tried this with consultants. And before that, they tried the Corn Ferry route with Izek. That to me is what it's how it's going to be viewed through history, whether or not it works.
Correct.
It comes down to the level of importance. See, Jake, you're looking at it from it's Spielman and Tannenbaum. And not much else.
Well, that's what I've been told it will be. That's why I'm very staunch in this.
That's the way I'm taking it.
I asked, what is the official name on the agreement? Is it Spielman and Tannenbaum or the 33rd team? And my answer was the 33rd team. And from that end, it just...
Well, that's just the name of the consulting company, though, right? It's like if you have an LLC, like I have an LLC, it's not like...
What consulting company? They haven't done it yet.
But they're getting into it. But Spielman has done this role before. That's the point.
Correct.
Listen, okay, all right.
I do want to touch on Mangini and Rex. We're a clown show if we keep bringing this all up, man. I want to get away from all this old.
They just hired Tannenbaum.
I know, but he's just helping him find a GM.
What are you talking about?
But
they
he's
just hired
him.
Tannenbaum.
Yeah, but they're just helping him find. If we hire Mangini and Rex, I'm going to be livid. I don't have a problem with Tannenbaum and Spielman working together to find one of these new GMs out there or bring somebody in that knows football. I have no problem with that because once they fire that GM, they're gone. They're not sticking around in the organization. They're just here to help find the GM. That's it. That's from what I understand. And then after that, they're gone.
But whether he's doing it intentionally or not, Woody and the Jets, there is perception now that, old names from, blasts from the past are being bandied about, put in headlines to make Jets fans feel good. And I'm not saying he's doing it intentionally, but that is there. And that's another thing that it just brings extra baggage, which I just don't
hell out, man. That's the one thing that scares me is that I woke up this morning and to see tweets and stuff about Mangini again. And I was like, are we kidding? Like, seriously, this is where we're going? Rex Ryan, Mangini, now we have Tannenbaum. And now I'm like, in my head, I'm like, what are we doing? Like,
well, you haven't even heard who the 33rd team is recommended. They've suggested a hologram of Weeb Eubank to coach the
team.
I'll take Weeb. I'll take a hologram of Weeb any day.
I can't, man. I can't. This is too much, man. This is too much. And we still have to play 6 more games of football.
Hey, any given Sunday. Come on.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, any given Sunday.
Hamburger.
Hopefully Aaron Rodgers is all right this week and he plays all right. Listen, I want wins. I want to at least enjoy Sunday and not be embarrassed about the team that they put on the field.
So you're not in the tank crowd for sure?
No, definitely not. I'm not a tank guy. No, because we want to keep players. We don't want the guys on the team in the locker room to fall apart and hate playing for the Jets. I'd rather them finish, I'd rather them win out 6 games. I'd rather them feel good about the end of the year and have guys say, hey, all right, now we're going to move forward. The organization's changing. We're getting a new GM. We're going to get a new coach. Things are going to be different. We're going to go in a new direction, whether Aaron Rodgers stays or not. Who knows about that yet? But I think the team would feel way better about next year than going on a tanking spree to say we're going to get you some new rookies. Come on.
Yeah.
We want to win.
At the end of the day, with the draft pick position, it comes down to leadership in the organization, front office, head coach. I mean, so
I agree. Yeah.
I'm sort of with you.
So, hey, listen, gentlemen, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for keeping me on, Jake. Robbie, have a great day.
Thank you. Let's go through the website together, everyone. Here is the 33rd team website. Let's learn more about this company. All right.
Yeah.
Let's get into it here. We'll break it down. First, we'll start with just the actual website, right? So you go to the 33rd team and you're like, what is this company here? What's happening? Ladies and gentlemen, here is the 33rd team.
Yeah, baby.
So let's look at the website. All right. We got some articles here. They're covering the draft. You got some writers here. Dive deeper. I heard Ari Mirov has some great ideas for the Jets in the interview process. But maybe Kyle Krabs. I like this guy, huh?
He was with what was the draft? The Draft Network, I think, previously.
All right. Executive NFL analysis. Marcus Mosher has some commentary. Let's go through our experts, shall we? Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
They got some coaches: Chuck Pagano, Jay Gruden, Mike Martz, Dave Wanstead. All these guys are going to be in the interview. Contributors: Tyler Brook, Ian Valentino, James Foster, Dr. Jess Flynn, sports medicine physician. We definitely got to get her involved. Dean Blandino. He'll be in the room with Woody. All right, now we get to the front office. Tannenbaum, Joe Banner, Rick Spielman, Jeff Diamond. Players. We got some players involved. Amon St. Brown. All right. That maybe Woody's playing a little 4D chess. You bring in the 33rd team. You get Ray Agnew.
Amon.
You get Ben Johnson, and then Amon forces a trade to the Jets. All right. You got Rondé Barber, Rich Gannon. I don't know how to say Amon's brother's name. Equanius.
Notre Dame, I believe. Notre Dame product.
Ross Tucker. All right, now let's look at what they actually do. All right, let's scroll down here. What do they do here? Professional services. Oh, okay. We help teams and the athletic departments tackle their most complex problems. NCAA advisory, executive search, negotiation. I guess Woody clicked on the executive search. Our team connects you with top leadership candidates and uniquely designs a process to ensure the right candidate is hired. Drawing on our vast NFL experience and network within college sports, we identify the right talent for coaching, front office, and administrative roles to support long-term success. And that's where Mike T and Rick Spielman's expertise will be put to the test.
Hey, God bless. It's their coming out party.
Nate writes in, this gives Sabo a chance to have Jet X choose the next GM in the future.
Dude, listen, look at the traffic, 33rd team, as much money as they have, doesn't even do half the traffic Jet X does.
Rick Kent says, Robbie wants Connor Long to choose the next GM.
Could it be worse? I mean,
no, I think Connor's got some good ideas.
Yeah. Let that sink in too, by the way, with the traffic. I mean,
Jet X is not messing around. Come on now.
We're a broke independent company and we double their traffic.
JetsXFactor.com, people. Robbie might hire the next GM.
We want to play games. I mean, this test run, first time you're doing this. Hey, God bless.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get to more of your phone calls right now.
The biggest mistake they made is not firing this whole crew of shitheads before the season started. The coaches can't make decisions. They don't correct anything. I mean, this is a joke. Hey, Robbie. Jake, how are you?
Peter Castro, how are you?
What's up, buddy?
Well, Robbie, now that you confused everybody and nobody can figure out what you're talking about, I mean, how many people got to go through the Jets before we pick a coach? I can sit here and tell you who the two best candidates are. It's very simple. I mean, there's nobody else out there right now. I guess they're going to have to wait until the end of the season.
Yeah.
Well, who do you like, Robbie, as a head coach?
Man, I mean, the list, in no particular order, Ben Johnson, Vrabel, Flores, Monken, Stefanski, but he's not going anywhere. I'm on board with Stefanski with Jake, but I don't think I think news came out too recently that he's not going to go anywhere, but I'm missing a couple. Aaron Glenn, he's on the list, but he's down there a little bit. I caught Faria's appearance last week, was a Friday, and I agreed with him in terms of if all things are equal, go offensive guy, develop the quarterback. But I think that's only if all things are equal. And right now with the Jets, all things are not equal. And I think they need leadership and accountability first. So that's why defensive minds like Flores and Vrabel are up there for me.
Yeah, I like them too. I mean, if Agnew came here, maybe he'd be able to talk Ben Johnson into coming here.
Maybe. I know Jake likes Agnew. Is he still your number one for a GM?
I want someone with experience. I just know Agnew's considered a top name because of his background and the team he's coming from.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm cool with Agnew.
I want Dorsey, honestly.
Yeah,
Dorsey, by the way, is a consultant for the Lions.
Dorsey's the home run, for sure. I think Dorsey's the home run and tops the list for me, but I don't know how realistic it is, honestly.
Once we get Ulebrick out of here, my coaching choices are Babe Brill first. Then I want a Queensberry. Got to look at Monkey from Baltimore and maybe Slow Dick in Houston.
Any of those names intrigue you, Robbie? Peter Castro's list.
It's like throwing names out. Ulbrich.
Ulbrich, fire him. No, my choice would be either Rabel or Flores.
Yeah, you got the two defensive guys at the top.
Right now, I think they're the two best out there. I mean, it's not really that hard. Why are they making such a big deal about this? You got to hire all these people, and you got to go through the 33 and all this bull.
It's the dude. It's November. Like no one knows who was even interested. It's all meaningless right now.
You know what? If Woody Johnson puts up the money, they're all going to be interested. And you know what? His biggest mistake was last year because he could have brought Harbaugh in here. I would have given him anything he wanted, and he could have ran the whole team, and it would have been simple. Look what he's done with the Chargers already, and he's got nothing on that team except for a good quarterback. I watched him last night. I wasn't impressed, but I mean, he's done a great job with it. He's just a good coach. Rabel's the same way. He's a great coach. Flores is a disciplinarian, which I like because the Jets have no discipline. You know, they commit 40 penalties and they walk off the field smiling. You want to smack one of them right in the head. You know, they come over to the sidelines and they got a big grin on their face. They just committed another penalty. And nobody says anything.
Yeah.
It's terrible. And you can't even – and now the situation they're in, you can't even pull a quarterback out because he'll get mad at you and you'll get fired. You know, if Rodgers has a bad leg or a hamstring, he should be sitting down. And Tyrod Taylor should be in the game. But they can't do it because Rodgers runs the show right now.
Well, we're going to see if he got healthy over the bye week. If it's obvious he's not and they're out of it, I would shut Rodgers down. What's the point of that? What's the point?
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. And Rodgers is never going to be healthy because he's going to get hit again. He's going to keep getting hit.
Well, we'll see. I mean, he was healthy week 3 against New England. You know, and then
One
he got
week. 1 week, Jay.
Yeah, he was running too. Like he was scampering and moving around.
He was healthy week 1 and week 2. He just was a little rusty. You know, I think he started to get comfortable on the Achilles and game action week 3, and then we'll never know what could have happened because he got his bleep kicked in the next 2 games, and he hasn't been right since physically.
Well, you know what? If they use him as a bridge quarterback next year, fine. But I'm sure that the next head coach is going to have to agree to that. You know, that he's going to be here for another year and then we'll go to another quarterback. But I'll tell you the truth. I wouldn't want to be his coach. I don't like his whole body language. Something goes wrong. He blames it. He blamed Mike Williams. Mike Williams, who I thought was a good player, never got really a chance to play. When he threw the ball downfield, he got pass interference calls. I mean, they didn't do it anymore. And then he said he missed the red line. How about the pass was about 5 yards too short? How about that?
Peter, where's Aaron going next year? What team?
Minnesota.
I know. Dude, how can anyone not say Minnesota?
Yeah,
right
and
now?
they'll be in the NFC title game next year.
Yes,
Watch.
and he'll
Furline, he stinks. Get him out of here. Aaron Rodgers, he's as bad as Simeon. He's not going to get better. He's 41 with a bad leg. He's terrible.
Dude, if O'Connell gets Rodgers, I mean, I know McCarthy's coming back, but that it would work for sure.
Scott Foster says Jets need to hire Peter as sideline head smackers.
The sideline whistle on a helmet guy. If anyone ever felt that, just the coach puts the whistle right on the helmet and it rings. Fuck, it's one of the worst.
By the way, not that I want to defend the Jets because I thought they did a bad job of trying to get Mike Williams involved in the red zone and just throwing some go balls. He's caught 0 passes since that catch he made in Pittsburgh. Just saying.
Listen. It's natural. I mean, to overreact. We've seen it a million times. Sam Darnold in Carolina got off to a great start with Matt Rule.
And then sucked, yeah.
Fizzled. This year with McConnell, great coaching. And listen, Darnold's still playing okay, but he's turning the ball over. You know, the league is starting to catch up to that offense a little bit. Mike Williams, same thing. It happens time and again.
Shane writes in, my dark horse is Steve Wilkes. He was scapegoated.
Ooh. Yeah, San Fran's D, not doing too well.
Yeah, I don't think he's at the end of their opportunity. He's obviously a very good defensive coach. I don't know. I mean, he did go 6-6 as the interim in Carolina in 2022.
Yeah, the guys that kept on falling under my radar are Monken and shoot, there was another one I can't remember. But I keep forgetting to include those guys, Monken and someone else. It'll come to me.
Is it true that Jet X Factor got more traffic than the Midtown Tunnel at 8 a.m.?
No freaking way, man. Are you kidding me? That's absolutely brutal.
Ladies and gentlemen, more of your phone calls right now. Buckle up for this one. He was crying on the air yesterday discussing the love of his life, Joe Douglas.
The only thing better than all these shoes is sexy Rexy, because he also loves feet. Jake, my brother, I'm high as a kite. I love everybody, and man, these Jets are depressing.
Hey, Ravi, Jakey.
You're a Joe D guy to that degree? I didn't realize.
Oh, Robbie, I am.
Dude, I admit I am too. I was it a good hire? I still think it was a great hire with Joe D. But I also think he deserved to be fired. He just didn't get the job done. He got the coaching wrong, in my opinion. And I think that's the mortal sin.
I agree. I agree that, that year of candidates, we got the best one. And from a culture standpoint and accountability standpoint, Saleh just wasn't, do I give Saleh credit for his development on the defensive side of the ball? I do think him and JD were in lockstep during the drafts and evaluating talent for Saleh's, scheme. But I don't know. I don't have to talk about JD, but I still think in terms of evaluating talent, trading, keeping us under the cap, and keeping the cap good, I think he's a top 15 GM. But that's just me. We've never had a GM who can hit. He went 5 for 7 in my opinion with his first round picks. Every time he trades up, Robbie, he always hit. Every time he made a big move to trade up for somebody, it normally was a big hit. And even when he has to get rid of our trash, like Elijah Moore, he turns it into Tittman, who's going to be our center for the next 10 years. So
let me put it this way: I think he was tremendous in personnel. I think he was great, hit a home run in personnel overall, but I think he failed everything else.
Yeah,
and everything else is crucial.
Yep. No, I get it. I'm more of like a battered dog that's been battered for a while, and then it finds a nice home, and it just doesn't think this grass is greener on the other side. And again, like what we're talking about, like what you're talking about with the 33rd team. If you look at it from Robbie's perspective, it's like, of course, the Jets are the first team that's going to sign up to this. Of course, Woody is going to be the guy that does this. But on the flip side, we don't trust Woody for nothing. What else were we gonna do? So I'm just in the middle, like they've
tried everything. Like they literally have tried everything. Like, so just hire the right people.
And
that's it.
But it's hard.
Hey,
it's
I
hard
agree with
for
you
me
on
to
that.
get there.
Yeah,
it's hard for me to get there though, to trust Woody to do it. So I guess bringing it, and I guarantee when he went to Spielman and said, like, listen, what you did for the Commanders last year, I would love to have you on my team and help me with this. And I'm sure they were like, well, we will, but you got to let us come in as with the 33rd team and be our first, so we can kind of, help each other. So that's where we got to look at it. You got to at least Woody is seeing something that worked and trying it, because I don't trust Woody to make a decision for anything. And I mean, look at this year in particular. How do you not, as an owner, have a feel and a sense of the locker room to know when to fire the coach? Like, yeah, who cares what Joe Schmo, Slow, and all of us fans want? Stop reading the big headlines and get a feel in the locker room. Nobody wanted to fire the coach in the locker room, so you got to go off that. And if you look at how Joe Douglas was blindsided, he didn't even really consult anybody. So that's where I changed my opinion with Woody. But
listen, Woody, again, like he has gotten an unfair rap. There's no question. Has he gotten involved in the last year? Yes, and you don't like it. But previously, he stayed out of the way. I mean, we have to be honest. He absolutely did.
Yeah, the past 4 years, right? It was really just this year. But I just feel like if you were gonna start dipping your hands in the pot that much, why don't you just get rid of everyone like beforehand? I guess you had to have the Mulligan year and give, Saleh his quarterback and take a chance with it, but
yeah,
it just completely failed. And I don't know. I feel like we really didn't have a choice except to let Spielman and Tannenbaum help us, because I don't think Woody could get better help. I don't trust him to find someone else. So I see where you're coming from, Robbie. It's like, of course, just end the season. We lose to the bye week. We're the butt of every joke. Of course, we're the first ones to go down this road, but hopefully we could just what? What would be the other consultants? Yeah, but what would be the other consultants? What else? Who could else we have asked to help?
Charlie Casserly, Ron Wolf.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, I mean, but
it's just for the Jets, Robbie, right?
Washington, Washington went Spielman and Myers.
We got Spielman, baby. So we're bringing in Phil Jackson.
Yeah.
Let's go, Knicks.
Honestly,
Honestly, have Leon Rose sitting on the interviews. Why not? He knows what he's doing.
yeah, dude, Leon Rose, and he was quiet too. Was for a few years, but suddenly, man, OG baby, 40 points last night.
Right? That's gotta be our faith is the Knicks were the Jets. We were all it was the same thing.
The Knicks were worse than the Jets, actually. And they figured it out.
Yes.
Right? No, you're right. Especially with nobody wanted to even come close to Dolan with a 15-foot pole. And now we're actually an attractive. We got Karl Anthony Towns in the trade. People want to come here. I mean, I can't believe sometimes when you talk about the Knicks, what we're saying. So at least we got that for us, but we lost to the bye week.
They need some bench. They need a bench.
Yeah. Let's hope McGrath. I like Kolek. I like how he.
I like Kolek too. Sneaky little lefty. He's not bad.
All right, well, guys, I love you, fellas. Great job.
All right. Be good.
You're the man, Robbie and Jake.
Bonesy, thank you for your service. What a call.
His intro is still top notch.
Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. No one's gifted a membership yet, so I'll gift one in a moment here. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel and you like the video and you're eligible to get one. We opened the show talking about Eric Mangini's comments about being a candidate for the Jet job. Look, I hope Tannenbaum would recommend Mangini for something in the front office, even if it's like director of football ops, GM, whatever, like run the scouting department. Like Mangini wants back in, and he's talked about in the past joining a front office. I'd love to have him in the front office. There's no doubt.
Yeah, it's so strange with him, like how he failed in Cleveland and thereafter, and then out of the league, and then all these Jets guys, these former Jets guys, go to the media. It's really unique. I like Mangini. I can't pretend I don't. I think
Mangini.
I think what I'm fighting is all of these names from the past. Like just bringing up the warm and fuzzy feelings. I'm fighting it, admittedly, but I'm trying to sort it out in my head. However, Mangini, just looking at him individually, personnel wise, I can't say no. I mean, he did some tremendous things.
I'm laughing at these comments. Can I read you some comments here from one of the biggest fans of mine that has ever done it?
Any comment.
This is Frank. Jake's the only guy that thinks it's a great idea to bring in a GM that was fired to assist him bringing in the GM. Jake, does Woody pay you behind the table? Frank then writes, Jake was the biggest Douglas Saleh lover ever. Then when we fire them, he says they were awful. I bet my life Jets pay Jake Asman to praise all their moves day by day. Jake, you can never say one bad word about the Jets until the results are not what we desired. My takes are on the record every day, bud. All right. There was no one that was more critical of Joe Douglas's decision last year to go into the year with Zach Wilson as a backup than me. There was no one who ripped this general manager more for sitting on his ass after week one than me. There was no one who ripped this GM this year for not getting another kicker than me. There was no one who said you either fire Douglas and Saleh together or keep them for this year than me. Like, all my takes are recorded, Frank. So you might not like it and you want to blame me for this team being bad. But the bottom line is you're sitting here on your bum ass watching the show. So for that, I thank you. I also will say this to you. Thanks for watching, but your day is done.
Now look what you've done. No more protection from the Asmaniacs. Had to pull you out of the chat and cast you down with the Sodomites. Some time in here will feel like you've been run over by the lane train. You understand me? You catch my drift? Give them another 24 hours to think about it.
I was pretty consistent going into this year, Robbie. I was like, they better win this year or I want everyone gone. Remember people were arguing at the beginning of the year, well, they fire Saleh, but could JD stay? And I said, that's ridiculous. He built the team. He hired the coach. He doesn't get to pick another quarterback and pick another coach. So I was steadfast in my belief they either win this year or everyone's got to go. Well, we know they are nowhere close to winning this year. They're 3-8 at their bye week, and thus everyone had to go. So I'm not just going to defend the product when they stink.
Yeah, I remember years past, we would criticize, and you were more on Douglas, and I was more on Saleh, if I can remember correctly. So, but it was a small difference. Like like you said at the top, we're normally in lockstep, and yeah, I don't think that's fair. Jake is I hate being this guy. Like I'm rarely the overly critical guy in terms of this regard. So, and I think Jake has been a lot more critical than me. So tell me to get my pom-poms out, but not today, I guess.
Ladies and gentlemen, more of your calls before we wrap with the Robby Sabo. Joining us now on the Gusbuster hotline is none other than Bobby Midnight.
Well, you know, I have my own YouTube show. If I'm awake, I'm going live. Unless Jake has a show, I'm Bobby. Hi, Jake. Just wondering how you feeling.
Hey, Bob. How are you?
How you doing, Robby Sabo?
What's up, Bobby?
Someone you famous tell me less is more. So goodbye.
That's right.
That's it. He's done.
Did he really just do that?
Someone told him less is more, so we called in, said hello, and then left. That's what we're doing?
That's an all-timer. Like, you got to give it to him on this one.
Whoever gave you that advice, Bob, I think you took it too literal.
Yes, but the way he executed it, we got to admit, it was pretty epic.
If less is more, Bob, don't call in for a month. And they make a triumphant return. Get a real crowd pop. Thanks, Bob.
Hi, everybody. This is Bob from Vermont. I am Bob, of course.
Who gave him that advice?
I don't know. I told him about his show, Less is More, quality over quantity. I think he it's not the pop that, Stone Cold got when Mankind won the title, but kudos, Bobby. I'll give it to you.
I thought his connection cut out, and then I realized that's a bit.
Yeah.
I guess you told him less is more, so there you go.
Yeah. He's George Costanza, leaving on the high note.
He took it literally.
Mm-hmm.
All right. More of your calls. Kyle Clifton's next. Hey, Kyle.
I don't know how I'm supposed to follow that.
You can't, dude.
Well, give us a little more than he did.
I'll try. So Frank has got to realize that 85 to 90% of the GMs in the league are hired to be fired. That's why they get paid generational wealth, because they're not going to be around in 4 or 5 years.
That's very true.
That's why everyone takes these jobs, because it's guaranteed for 5 or 6 years at that salary, and you're set for life.
That's right. So I think that as Jet fans, content creators, people who are invested in the team, we are damaged goods at this point. We need to totally ignore the Mike Florios and the Nick Wrights of the world. They don't bring anything to the table. They are just trying to undermine. They have a pet project of undermining the New York Jets for some reason, whether it's clicks, exposure. They get a kick out of it. Whatever the reason is, ignore them. Yeah. Whatever the reason is, ignore it. I have no problem with the notion that the 33rd team can have several different divisions and that they're a relatively new startup. I kind of want to laud Woody for going a different route. And, if he'd gone right back to Corn Ferry, I'd be frustrated. And I like the fact that, Tannenbaum and Spielman have kind of different backgrounds when it comes to their experience as a GM. Tannenbaum was more a cap guy. Spielman was more a personnel guy.
True.
And I think that they're going to, at the very least, they still have contacts throughout the league that are going to help them, speak about this in an intelligent way to the people who are ultimately responsible for the team, the money people, the Johnsons. I'm not at all worried about the media aspect of the 33rd team. But if the Jets do get Krabs, I will be a little bit upset.
I like that guy Krabs. I hope he's in the interview process.
Hey, listen, everything you said, true, fair, and I have nothing else to. You laid it out pretty perfectly. So kudos,
ladies and gentlemen. I gifted one channel membership, and it went to Joe Bonesy, getting in the mix here, folks. So not Mr. Bonesy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how is Bonesy not a member?
But the brains behind the operation at Alden Shoe Store in Manhattan, Joe Bonesy, getting himself one exclusive as Maniac membership.
Oh, nice.
Yes. Robbie, do you have time for one more phone call?
Oh, of course. Come on now.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rob the Jet Fan's next. Hello, Rob.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
What's up, Rob? Lovely name.
Thank you. I like it.
You're welcome.
I'm a little bit in agreement with Robbie, Jake. I'm sorry, but
how dare you, Rob?
I know. Going against you. He'll never call me ever again, Robbie.
Come to the darkness.
He'll see my name. He's like, frig that guy.
Jake would never do that.
Yeah, you don't know him. But an agreement with the part that why wouldn't they just kind of just hire these guys individually? Because now you are involved in a company, and we seem to be the guinea pig or the hamster on the wheel. Hey, let's start off with the Jets and see how this works out. So I'm a little bit scared about that. And I'm kind of in agreement, Robbie, with what you've been saying lately with Tannenbaum. And I kind of mentioned this to Jake the other day. Lately, his takes on ESPN sometimes are kind of ridiculous. And it makes me question his judgment. I know he knows talent. He's been a GM. He's picked his good players, his bad players like anyone else. But I don't know. I don't see that sharp man of 10 or 15 years ago when he was working and getting players for the Jets. I see some outlandish, ridiculous quotes that he makes. Jake has put him into the shadow realm a couple of times from some of his dumb takes. So are we getting the same guy that we got years ago? Makes me question it a little right there. So we'll start with that.
Rob, but here's the thing, right? His opinions on ESPN, he's not doing the job for the Jets. He's asking questions in an interview. That's what he's doing. He's talking to candidates here. And also, to be fair to Tannenbaum, he's hired 3 head coaches that ended up taking their team to the playoffs. Like, he has a pretty good eye for leadership in those roles. That's why he's here. And Spielman also did the same exact thing last year for Washington. So if it was just Tannenbaum, I'd understand maybe some of the concern. But I love the fact that Rick Spielman, who's also been a GM for 2 teams, including a 10-year run in Minnesota, is involved in the process too.
I like that too. What do you think, Robbie?
I'll say, so some of his takes, I mentioned it before, but it doesn't make me question his judgment. He's doing a job. Okay. He has to be outlandish. What it makes me question is, man, how far are you willing to go to be shocking, to move that knee? Like, really? You're willing to go that far? That's what makes me question in terms of, I don't know, selling out, I guess. Judgment wise, I think he's still fine. And I think, as Jake said before, he does have value being in this market, knowing Woody.
Now, 2 ridiculous, outlandish questions. And let me ask you guys. And Jake kind of like kiddingly mentioned it, but I kind of really want your take, Robbie, on it. Again, there's 2, so I'll start off the first one. First one was, Jake, you said if God forbid Kyle Shanahan was let go or the 49ers were willing to let him go, that you would give a first-round pick, heck, possibly all of our picks for the year for a caliber of a Kyle Shanahan as a coach. Robbie, what do you say about that?
I agree 100%.
I do too.
100%.
Curious. And the second one being this, and this one's going to be crazier. Okay, you ready, guys? Let's pretend for whatever reason Trevor Lawrence was available. They finally said, you know what? I know they signed him to a large contract, so it's not happening. I get it. But let's just pretend, for argument's sake, he was available. On the body of work that he has accomplished so far, the highs and the lows, and I know he has not turned out to be that quarterback of the future like they said he was going to be. But he's not a bad quarterback. He's at least in the top 20. Would you, if he was available, be in the Jets, go after him? And if you did, what would you give maximum for him? Jake and Robbie, please answer that separately for me. Just curious. Again, I know it's not going to happen. Just curious.
Yeah, I would go after him hard. How do you define hard? I don't know. Hard. I want to say it again. It depends. See, with the contract, it'll be less guaranteed money because of the nature of trading that contract. So that's positive. But how much would you have to give up? I don't know. Would you give up a number 1, 2 number 1s, a 1 and a 3? What would you give up? And I want Jake's opinion too. I'm going to let Jake go first on this.
I wouldn't go after him.
At all.
Yeah, I just don't think he's that great. I think he's very mediocre. He's making a ton of money. I don't think it makes sense.
I would take him in a heartbeat. It just the compensation is tricky. I would not want to.
He's one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league. Also, Jacksonville's not trading him. They're not carrying a $100 million dead cap hit next year.
Let me put it this way: if he was, if he was available and you can get him for compensation that's not insane.
A lot of hard talk. I'd like to announce today's show is presented by Viagra, baby. Promo code Asman. Let's continue.
I mean, guys, honestly, for me, I think he is not the quarterback that everyone expected because I wanted him so badly. I was hoping that we tanked for him. Oh my God.
No,
we can't even tank with stupid gays. But if he was available and in lieu of no quarterbacks coming out this year, because I think this crop of quarterbacks suck, I would probably give up maybe, I don't know, a second-round pick for him.
I would do that. I would do that for sure. And it's funny I say that because I was on the don't worry about tanking bandwagon during 2020. That Lawrence is not this generational guy. I mean, so, but it's funny. Yeah, second round, I would do. Yeah.
Again, crazy hypothetical just to get us by.
Yeah, I mean,
6 more games ago.
Yeah, I don't see them trading him. I mean, you have to consider it, but like it's kind of pointless. He's an okay quarterback, right? But now he's paid like a great quarterback. Like you could justify it when he's on his rookie deal, but I don't know. You know, I am curious who's going to take that job. There's rumors of Belichick, but wouldn't if Ben Johnson thinks he could take Lawrence and turn him into what Goff was, right? Former first-round pick, first overall pick that has been okay, but hasn't been great. Like that would be interesting to me, but I don't know.
Yeah, that contract is it's absurd. I don't know how that would work in terms of the guaranteed money. That's the crazy thing. And
Kyle Shanahan, I traded an entire draft for.
Yeah, me too.
Would ever get rid of him, which is not going to happen.
Me too.
Yeah,
and that's 100%.
Man. Anyway, Robbie, tremendous job out of you. Great back and forth. The chat loved it. And look, good luck in the biggest game you'll ever coach this Saturday. Tell the people about it.
Baby.
Let's go.
State semifinal. It's going to be tough. This team is a powerhouse, this program. So Glens Falls, if anyone is interested. Yeah, we'll see. The kids deserve it, so we'll see how they come out.
Coach Sabo, everybody.
Let's go.
Good luck, Robbie. JetXFactory.com, promo code Asman. First month, 99 cents on a JetX membership. So head over there. They are the preeminent site for Jets content, Jets coverage, and inspired by the 33rd team. After the Jets go through 4 years of this next regime, then Robby Sabo will be leading the search in 2031 to hire the next GM and coach.
Yeah, if that happens, hand me a gun, please. Put me out of my misery.
Robbie, thank you, sir.
All right. Later, guys.
Robby Sabo, everybody. Boomtown Rodent. I hope your day isn't too hard, Robbie. Love that. Open phone lines for anyone who wants in. Nick wrote in. I heard Joe Burrow might ask for a trade. There's no rumors of that. That's just made up. If Joe Burrow ever asked for a trade, I mean, if Deshaun went for 3 1s, Burrow's going for at least 3 1s too. Greg, any word on Jordan Travis? He's not healthy yet. He won't be healthy till next year. He hasn't even practiced yet, so there's no scenario he's going to play. Anyway. Tom Ace writes in, Robbie, start the build-up, the consultant part of the website now. Amen. Hire Coop says, get Daniel Jones. To do what? Get Daniel Jones to do what exactly? J-Quest says, less is more, ladies and gentlemen. Bobby Midnight. Robert Woodruff. Pretty funny call by Bobby. All right, let's say hello to JT. He's next. Hey, JT.
Yo, Jake, what's up, man?
Hey, JT, how are you?
Doing all right, doing all right. So I saw a little, I know rumors are just that, especially at this point in the game, but I saw a rumor about Gregson, former Vikings GM. What are your thoughts on him?
I didn't love how he never built an offensive line for Andrew Luck and basically was, played a substantial role in one of the best quarterbacks in the league retiring before the age 30. So
Gotcha.
I'm kind of out on Grigson. I'd rather someone else with experience if they go down that route.
Okay, cool. Yeah, GMs aren't my strong suits. I don't know much about him, so I was curious about your thoughts on him. But I heard he's close with Flores, so I would love Flores as a coach, to be completely honest. As much as I would not want a defensive mind, Flores is definitely one of my top guys in my mind, honestly.
I like Brian Flores.
Someone that's not respected. I want a dickhead, part of my French mentality. You know what I mean? Like that's what we need, I think, at this point. Too much of the respected coaches thing. It's just not it for us at this point. We need someone, you know what I mean? I don't care if he's likable or not. We want wins. We need wins.
Yeah, look, I would be on board with Flores, with the caveat being I really would need to know what his plan is for the offensive staff, because he went through 3 different OCs in 3 years. That was his downfall.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because I know he's a defensive guy, so definitely got to see the offensive game plan with him there. I actually got a question for you, fantasy related. I'm in kind of a tough spot right now. I just might have lost my starting running back for the year, depending on Dobbins. Is there any backup running backs you have in mind that you would pick up in fantasy?
Well, who's available in your league? I don't know.
I see all the Raiders guys, but I don't know their injury status at the moment. I know they're all injured. I was thinking about picking up Madison or Abdullah, depending on their concerns.
That sounds good to me. I'm in a league. I'm in 3 leagues, and they have way too many people in them. So, like, if someone gets hurt, you're screwed because there's no one good. So I don't know how many people are in your league, but
10. Justice Hill's another one I was thinking of. He's very hit or miss because obviously Derrick Henry's running the ground over there. But Justice Hill does get those big hits every now and then that make him have a good week. So, like, I'm hoping that maybe if I pick up Justice Hill, I get lucky. I'm hoping J.K. Dobbins is okay. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look promising that there's no update to this point. But, yeah, I was curious about your thoughts on that because I think I'm screwed without Dobbins.
no, I like it. I mean, go for it. Just get, or you can just get like Gus Edwards, right? Like, I mean, he's literally the backup. He's not going to.
He's not available in my league.
Unfortunately, that's a bad job by you not handicapping him or handcuffing him.
Yeah. I had Javonte Williams. I was expecting bigger things from him this year, but he's been very hit or miss as well. He's going to be my RB. Jahmyr Gibbs is my starting running back, so I'm not like too worried about my one running back slot, but I'm just worried about my RB2 slot.
Pick up Zach Wilson.
Yeah, Zach Wilson. Yeah, I'm thinking I might just roll Javonte Williams and see how it goes and maybe pick up one of the backups and hope they pick up pace a little bit. But all right, thanks, Jake.
JT, thank you. That's how down bad we are, folks. Fantasy football talk on November 26th. Boomtown with an interesting question. Jake, regarding Jordan Travis, could you explain what he does on a weekly basis? Sit in on meetings, listen in on play calling during the game, throw with the practice squad. I think you basically nailed it, Boomtown. That's my understanding on exactly what he does. He's not cleared to practice, so he can't actually be out there practicing. He can watch practice. He obviously could be on the headset on game days. He could be in meetings. He's basically just doing everything a player would do without the practice part. And he does a lot of rehab, obviously, as he's trying to come back. Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. Open phone lines for anyone who wants in on the conversation. Connor writes in, they brought in football guys to help Woody pick a competent candidate. I don't care if they're technically a media company. If people misinterpret an article, it means nothing in the actual process. Yeah, like, that's my big thing. Like, I know, like, I understand what Robbie's trying to say, but if you understand how this actually works, like the 33rd team being involved, like, that's just because it's like the company that Tannenbaum owns. So instead of like if you hire me to do something, you hire the Jake Asman show. Like, it's me, Jake Asman, doing it. Like it's a huge football related company. One of the things they're getting into is consulting. Spielman did this last year before he worked for the 33rd team. It's just bringing what he already did, but now doing it under the 33rd team umbrella. So I think it's a semantics thing. I just don't think it's that big of a deal. You know, if Ari Miroff is in the interview process with Woody Johnson, then yeah. I don't think that makes any sense. He's not qualified for that. You know. But when you look at what they're going to do, like their NFL analysis here, like their fantasy football writer, C.H. Herman, who's giving you guys waiver wire targets, he's not going to be in the interview with Woody Johnson and Chris Johnson here. The only people that are going to be in the interview process is Mike Tannenbaum and Rick Spielman. That's it. All right. That's what we're talking about. And Spielman's got a great resume, so I'm excited about him. Let's see. Man with a Rake says, you need an LLC because when you F up, you don't get sued directly. Is this Steve Asman watching the show? I mean, you're absolutely right, man with a Rake. The 33rd team is basically just the LLC. I bet you if we looked into it, Rick Spielman last year was probably like Rick Spielman Consulting or whatever he called it. But now he's an employee of the 33rd team. Jack writes in, next year we'll be looking to hire the 34th team. Man. Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. Last chance to get in here before we end our first show on the day. Aaron Rodgers on McAfee today, I believe. So I'm sure that will be the theme of the afternoon show. What will Rodgers say? Robert says he's healed from that injury. Not yet. He's not been cleared yet, Robert. Jordan Travis is not 100% healthy. I think anyone expecting anything from Jordan Travis, you're fooling yourself. Anything you get's a bonus. He was a 5th-round pick coming off a very serious injury. Let's see what he is. Jay Graves getting in at the buzzer is up next. Hello, Jay Graves.
Hey, what's up?
How are you, Jay Graves?
Doing a little holiday cooking today.
All right.
But I wanted to give you your flowers because if it weren't for you, this is like the Gates years. I was checked out. If it wasn't for you and your show and this community, I'd be so checked out. So even though we might not all agree on what's going on, even though Tannenbaum sucks, I really appreciate you and your content and just want to give you a shout out for doing I don't know if I can do this. I couldn't sit here and talk 4 hours a day talking Jets. So I give you a lot of kudos.
Thank you, Jay
for
Graves.
keeping us all together. I will unfortunately be at the game on Sunday because Addie's coming out. So gotta make it happen. But yeah, I just want to say thank you, Jake, for keeping us all afloat, even though everything sucks.
Jay Graves, I appreciate that a lot. Community makes it worthwhile. You guys do a great job. Wish this team was good for once. It's now the 4th year in a row I've covered this team daily, and they haven't sniffed the playoffs. 2 years ago at this time, they were 7-4, and then it all went to hell. You know what's crazy? All these talks about coach, GM, these are off-season discussions that we're doing in November. It's not even Thanksgiving yet. It's unreal. It's unbelievable. It really is. Nick, how do you feel about the top few quarterbacks in the draft? I mean, the early consensus is there's 2 clear guys that will go in the top 10 in Shador and Cam Ward. And then after that, there's an unknown. But I caution everyone. We've seen this change how many times now? Like, there's always another quarterback that emerges. It could be more than one. Ladies and gentlemen, our King Lowski, just gifted 5 channel memberships.
Calm your freaky down.
Oh, the freaky's turned up when Lowski drops a 5 spot. Here we go. King Saria. How about that? From one king to another. Jerry Moore, Jason B. Just endure the suffering. B. Saez, all receiving a channel membership. Let's go. Let's go. Thank you, Lowski. I'm going to end the show here shortly, so last chance. Jackson Dart. Yeah, that's an interesting name. I know he's got a ton of talent, former 5-star guy. Curly writes in, when do you think we won't be poverty? Half past never? Question mark. Nobody hates the Jets more than Curly Norman. But nobody comes back to talk more about the Jets daily than, you guessed it, Curly Norman. Peter Castro says 10 more years. I love it. Hang in there, everybody. Oh, you know what? I was about to end the show, but we got another caller. Ladies and gentlemen, at the buzzer, Chad will close us out today. Hello, Chad.
Hey, Jake. Thanks for taking my call at the last minute. I appreciate it. Oh, and there's my wife in the background.
There we go. What's your wife's name?
Amanda.
Amanda, thanks for joining the show as well.
Just a quick question, not to get too philosophical here at the end of the show and essentially at the end of the season, but what do you look for after all these poverty seasons and lost seasons? I know we're all deep fans. I've been a fan for 25 plus years. What do you look for realistically out of the last, what do we have, 5 or 6 games left? I mean, do you want to beat the Bills to say we beat the Bills? Do you want to beat the Dolphins to say we beat the Dolphins? You're not a tanker, right? So what do you realistically look for?
No, I'm not a tanker just because we've seen, like, doesn't guarantee anything, right? Oh, how could they not get Trevor Lawrence? How's that working out? It's just, I'm kind of over the whole tanking thing. I think a good GM can find talent no matter where they're picking. So, but what do I want to see? Like, I'd like to see the young players play well. I'd like to see the offensive line play well down the stretch, because I think one of the selling points for this job is that you have 4 of the 5 pieces already in place. And I bring back Morgan Moses. I love his leadership. I love what he said yesterday. Like, that guy's a winner, man. That guy could play for my team any day. So I want to see the line play well. I am actually, at least for this game Sunday, curious how Rodgers plays, right? Did he get healthy over the bye? Is there any way he could play really well down the stretch where all of a sudden the coach comes in and goes, you know what? This team has a lot of talent. We could be the Chargers from last year with Rodgers back and better coaching. Like, there's still, every game matters. It's only one of, you only get 17 of these a year. And plus, you brought it up. They play Miami twice. They play Buffalo. I'd love to stick it to Miami and knock them out of the playoffs. Buffalo affect their seeding. So, there's things to play for. Your young child might be interested in some wins as well, Chad.
Love to see it, man. I'd love to beat Miami. Well, thanks so much. Great show as always, buddy.
Chad, I appreciate it, man. Great call. Call back more, Chad. I love the setup behind you too, with the jet gear on the shelf. Yeah, look, you only get a couple. There's only 17 of these games, and like I want to see Garrett play well, Brees play well, Will McDonald get the double-digit sacks. Like, in 2020, there was nothing to root for. Like, it made sense to lose. You had no talent. This team does have talent. We'll see. Am I expecting the Jets to play well over these final 6? No, but we'll see how they look coming out of the bye. There's pieces on this team. I'd like to see them win some games here. And wherever they end up picking, they end up picking. It is what it is. I think the unfortunate reality is you look at the draft order. They're not going to end up picking in the top 3. Look at the teams in front of them. Look how bad the Jags, Giants. I mean, the Jaguars game, they lose that game, then maybe, but that's probably a game they win. We'll see. There's 6 games left. We'll see. Troy says, who's in a worse spot, the Jets or the Browns? I think until we know who the Jets coach is, it might be the Jets, right? I mean, the Browns have a good coach in Stefanski. Now, Deshaun Watson's contract holds him back, but I still think they would draft a quarterback if they're in the top 3. They'd move on from Watson, or he'd just be the backup there, as crazy as that is. I don't know. I got to see who the Jet coach is. I think because the Browns have a real good coach, they're in a better spot for now. But the Jets, I think, have just as much, if not more, talent. Depends how you look at it. Jets are in an easier division, which helps them. Man with a rake. Are they charging for Jet Jag tickets? I mean, they should be giving away Jet tickets for those last 3 home games for free. I know we're going to be doing that on this channel. Anyone who has tickets to those games that they're not using, if you want to pay it forward, we'll make sure we get it to someone who can use them. Take someone to their first game. Take a family that can go to a game that maybe couldn't afford to normally go. Kyle says, sweep the Finns. It's our Super Bowl. Yeah, they beat the Dolphins twice. Sign me up for that. All right, screw Miami. Hennessy says, just ask Gary and Allen what to do. They're never wrong. I agree. Gary should be the GM. He's never been wrong about anything ever, let alone player evaluation. Curly says, pathetic. That's our Super Bowl. Curly, we know the team sucks. You don't need to remind everyone with every comment you make that the team sucks. We all are Jet fans here. We know the team sucks. They are 3-8. We know that the team is bad. Thank you for the daily reminder with every single one of your comments. But I can assure you, on this channel that now has over 40,000 subscribers, I would say 38,000 of them are Jet fans. We are well aware that the Jets stink. You don't need to tell us. We know that the Jets are bad. We live it every day. The problem is we're obsessed and we keep coming back for more. But we know, I promise you, that the football team we all support is bad at football. We know. That's a bad football team that is poorly coached.
It's a sad life being a Jets fan, man.
I'm just destroyed with this team.
I hate them. I hate them.
The more things change, the more they stay the same. Death, taxes, and the Jets just stabbing a stake in our hearts.
We have all this talent and can't do anything with it.
I've got no words. It was brutal.
25. I don't even know what to say.
I don't know how much more I could take for this.
They're doing irreparable damage to this fan base. We know they aren't good. They're 3-8. Good God. Anyway, we somehow got through 90 minutes today. Thank you all for the support. You guys are great. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, join the Patreon if you really want to keep the show alive, baby. Patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. Thank you all for taking the time to watch the show. Ladies and gentlemen, I end today's show with a clip that needs to be played. Chiefs fan to Alden's. Ladies and gentlemen, Chiefs fan. Now, for those who are unaware, Chiefs fan broke the news to us that he's currently mowing lawns for a living.
I wasn't going to work retail. I worked at Walmart for part-time. I'm not going to be in there when some crazy-ass white person wants to set some shit on fire, and then the guy sets the guy on fire. I wonder why there's a fire truck at Walmart. I'm like, oh, that crazy fucker actually did it.
Bonesy writes in, Jake, I gave Bobby the rights to make decisions on Alden shoes. Maybe Bobby can interview Chiefs fan for me.
It's time for a Bobby job interview.
Are you into shoes at all?
I watched enough of Al Bundy to know about basic shoe stuff and
Let me measure your chest.
looked into shoe stuff, and my friends would always have the newest pair of Jordans while I was sitting there with $35 Dr. Scholl's not giving a damn what people said.
Look at me. Do you ever sell anything?
I would convince people like, oh, there's this new card product, go and buy it. or like I see you eyeing those plushies, one of their workers would always go open the fire door and light up a joint.
If you worked at Alden's, what would you say to a customer?
Do you need any art support? Would you like to purchase these shoes that are on sale? I wanted to be a Walmart greeter, but nowadays they give that to the elderly.
Right, definitely.
Yeah.
Bobby.
Clean the cars, but they asked them. Oh, they would do it anyway.
Times when people would, there's times when people would be in the hood.
Chiefs fan, you got the job. Bonesy already wrote in. Chiefs fan, you're hired.
Perfect. But the thing is, as a 13-year-old, I was cleaning cars better than the people who work at the car cleaning places because.
Well, Bobby, excellent job. Thank you for your service.
No problem.
You go back to your lawn chair now, Bobby. What a show, folks. You won't find this anywhere else.
Oh, yeah. You know what time it is. You tried to throw him away, but this man's coming back. Sometimes he's fat or thin. That waistband makes him slim. He's got the fix you need. They call him sexy. Rexy.
Fuck Gruden, he's no Jet. I'm here to crack some skulls. I'll turn these boys to men. This team is stacked with pros. Hire me, you won't break your purse. I'm here to break the curse. They call me sexy. Rexy. Fuck all you naysayers.
Ooh, sexy. Ooh, he's such a Rexy, sexy. Ooh, he's such a Rexy, sexy. He's such a Rexy, sexy. He's such a Rexy.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, I burped. Excuse me.